Yo, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of You Name It and I Played, we are going to be checking out Okidogi EX. Okidogi EX has the chain crazed attack that does 130 damage, and if this Pokemon is poisoned, does 130 more damage. Use a Binding Mochi and you're already swinging for 300, and if you combine it with Brute Bonnet and Precious Jungle, Okidogi will be swinging for 330 damage. In other words, being able to KO anything in the format. So maybe Okidogi has been slept on this entire time. Let's check it out.
Like I said, this deck was sent in by a viewer, so thank you so much for sending it in. Let's continue with the video.
Okidogi is our main attacker. We also have Pecharunt. Pecharunt has that subjugating chains ability that allows you to switch one of your bench darkness Pokemon except any Pecharunt EX with your active Pokemon, and if you do, that Pokemon is now poisoned. Pecharunt also has that irritating outburst attack that does 60 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So Pecharunt itself can also be dealing 300 damage near the end of the game for only 2 darkness energy, so that's also pretty darn good. Then we have Squawkabilly. Squawkabilly is very good for the early game. And of course another very important card is that baby Pecharunt. But let's move into our game plan. Our game plan for this deck is most of the time to start with this Pecharunt and Brute Bonnet to take a 1 prize knockout on your opponent's small threats like Budu, Dreepy, or any other small basic Pokemon your opponent might start with. Then as the game progresses, we want to really set up an Okidogi, which we can do in one turn through E-Switch, Janine Secret Art, and just an energy attachment for turn. And our late game attacker will be Pecharunt.
Munkidori, of course, with that Adrenaline ability, is in here for Dragapult as well as Grimmsnarl, since the jungle doesn't allow you to one-shot a Grimmsnarl. Brute Bonnet is here to increase your damage, and in the early game allows you to get some cheeky KOs with Pecharunt.
So that's basically it for our game plan, so let's really talk about some specific cards. A very important card to note is the baby Pecharunt. The baby Pecharunt has that toxic subjugation ability that as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, put 5 more damage counters on your opponent's poison Pokemon during checkup. So Pecharunt will be able to increase the poison amount to 6, and then through Precious Jungle, we are going to be increasing it with 2 more even. So we're going to be dealing 8 damage counters with poison during checkup. Iron Bundle is a very good card for if your opponent has a Pokemon in the active you don't really want to KO but you can't use boss orders. Using Iron Bundle can be very good. Like I said, we also have Munkidori.
Like I said, Munkidori is in here for Dragapult as well as Grimmsnarl, since they both also spread a lot of damage.
We have Fezandipiti with that Flip the Script ability that allows you to draw 3 cards if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. And then we have Muex. Muex has that restart ability that allows you to draw until you have 3 cards in your hand, and that attack genome hacking to choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So that's it for the Pokemon. Let's move into our trainers. Playing 1 Earthen Vessel, we're playing 1 Boss's Orders, 3 Arven. Arven is also very good since we are playing Precious Trolley as our ace spec. Precious Trolley allows you to search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. Then we are playing 2 Super Odds, 3 Iono, 1 Night Stretcher, 3 E-Switch, Precious Jungle, Janine Secret Art, 2 Counter Catcher, 3 Pokégear, 2 Binding Mochi, an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, 3 Nest Ball, and 11 Darkness Energy. So that's the full list. Once again, thank you for sending it in, and if you want to be in my next episode of You Name It and I Played, let me know what card or deck you want to see down below, and maybe I'll check it out for you. And before we go into our first match, if you want to join my channel Discord, make sure to check the link down in the description below to join it. Alright, and with that, let's get into our first match. Alright, it looks like we will be going second. We have a extremely bad hand, a Janine Secret Art, and 2 Darkness Energy, so that's pretty rough. Our opponent mulligans twice. It looks like it's some kind of control deck. Grabber is of course a very control-y card. We also see the Team Rocket's Bother Butt. That's kind of crazy. Alright. Let's take 2 mulligans. That does make our hand significantly better. That's Team Rocket's Chingling. Alright. Team Rocket's Proton, of course, gets 2 more Chingling. So if they only play Chingling, that's... I mean... Grabber. Don't have any Pokemon. Yeah, this is a control deck, so it's pretty cool that someone did actually make a control deck with Chingling. Yeah, pretty cool. Discard a card from your opponent's hand. Calamitous Wasteland. Yeah, extra retreat cost. That doesn't really matter since we're just gonna be using Janine's Secret Art. There's Sorosic, something we do really have to look out for. Counter catcher. Let's Nest Ball. Let's get a Okidogi. Should we just get a Pecharunt? Pecharunt might just be better to attack with as well. Actually, probably just gonna get Pecharunt here. Yeah. Let's do this. Touch an energy. I kind of want Iono here because I know he's gonna play Sorosic. So maybe I can thin out my hand just a little more if I play Iono. Brute Bonnet, Okidogi, those can go to the bench. Brute Bonnet, however, is very annoying. At the same time, I can get Nest Ball or Trolley next turn, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a problem, so. Let's end our turn here. I think it shouldn't be a problem, and then we just touch the Pecharunt. Get a Pecharunt EX out, and just attack with Poison Chain. So I think that will be fine. Chiming Commotion. He's going to touch a Mist Energy. I don't think it stops. Oh, but it stops poison, of course. Yeah. Well, I guess we still have Okidogi in play. Didn't really matter. We had E-Switch in hand now. Yeah. Gravity Gemstone. Still so curious to see how this card actually works. Energy. So this card is just gonna stay up the entire game. He's gonna let me keep the energy. That's probably the better play, yeah. But it doesn't really matter. We do have... Oh, I just wanted to say... We do have Arven to get Ancient Booster Capsule. But now we don't. So the best card in our hand is gone. Well, I'm actually not sure what to do with this. I think I'm definitely gonna bump the stadium, because why not? Maybe just attach the Munkidori. Oh, we can't retreat as well. Completely forgot. Okay, funny. I do gotta say, I do a guy who builds a deck like this. It's a pretty cool deck. Probably not gonna use Fezandipiti this game ever, and probably also not gonna use E-Switch that often. He's gonna play Pokégear, probably get something like an Eerie or Team Rocket's Archer in this case. Crushing Hammer, yep. That's a heads, yeah. Alright. There's an Arven. Gravity Gemstone and a Team Rocket's Bother Bot. There we go again. I think he's gonna let me keep the Fez. Yeah. Thought so. I'm gonna attach a Gravity Gemstone to the benched one, and there goes our E-Switch. I think we're really just in top deck mode here. And energy is just not gonna cut it. We need something like a Pecharunt. Where do I attach? Okay, so the Fez is gonna get discarded, which is fine. Okay, that's pretty funny. Crushing Hammer. The question now is, do they have enough steam to get this, like, to keep this on for the entire game? Because that's where, like, most control decks, or most, like, rogue control decks fail, is somewhere in the late game. They kind of run out of resources to pressure your hand. And, oh yeah, the boss doesn't, well. I guess this, because the Mist Energy is gone. But then later in the game, when once we go to the mid/late game, yeah, and then they just kind of run out of steam. They don't have the item cards to keep on disrupting. They sort of run out of support. I mean, they have PAL pad, but that's a lot of times not enough. The attack just isn't that good, or yeah, in this case they can't even discard anything. Yeah, they can discard Brute Bonnet if they want. Like, the thing is, they are not doing that much. They're gonna be running out of resources before we are. Like, that's my point. So, in theory, if we just stop playing the game, just passing over and over, I think I just win. Which is extremely boring. But that's like how these worst control decks work. It's like, they run out. So, I think we should just be fine. Yeah, I mean, maybe they have PAL pad again. Kill with an energy. Look at this. We find one more energy, we can retreat. And then they're just gonna play counter catcher. Alright. So, there's an Arven. Team Rocket's Transceiver and a Gravity Gemstone. Chiming Commotion. We have no cards in hand again. Draw for turn. There's another energy, so we can actually attack with Pecharunt this turn. It's a double retreat. Okay, and now we're gonna get counter catchered immediately. Look at this. Still no cards in hand, by the way. And he's knocked out. You know what? Let's get this guy. Counter catcher. I don't think we're gonna use it. Don't think we are. Actually, I should have just got the jungle, since I wanted a card that was bad so they could discard. So, I mean, counter catcher isn't like bad for me if they discard it, because we're not gonna use counter catcher the entire game. But in theory, that could have been like an Iono or an Arven that I did want to use, and with a one card hand, it's gonna be guaranteed it will be discarded. So. Team Rocket's Transceiver. Maybe get Giovanni. Probably get Giovanni. Petrel. What are they getting with Petrel? Oh, yeah. Basically boss of orders. Counter catcher. And I think Brute Bonnet is gonna be yeah. I mean, we do have two Pecharunt EX in deck, so I'm like not that worried, since even if they play like multiple super odds, multiple PAL pads, I still think, and I still hold strong to the idea that I'm not gonna deck out before they are, if I just don't play that aggressively. And he's just gonna attack, but that really didn't do anything. Once again, an Okidogi EX. Yeah, I don't want another Okidogi EX in play. Let's let them discard it. Man, I'm really tired. It's like 6 in the morning. I had to record this before I went somewhere, so if I'm playing a little bit worse than normal, I don't know. I don't even know if I play that good. If I when I play for videos. Like, not saying I play off camera better, but probably just a little. Either way, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna discard the Okidogi. We draw a Super Odd. I'm gonna play Super Odd though. Shuffle back the energy. And bam. Let's end our turn. So now we have 36 cards. We have 13 more cards in deck. I mean, they have a big hand, but I don't think they want to Iono us per se. I don't know. It's still just hold strong to the idea that they're just gonna deck out at some point, or run out of steam and they're just gonna brick or whatever. Pokégear, so we can finally find a supporter. We found an Iono. I think we are gonna play it. We do really prefer to find the Pecharunt, so I am going to play Iono. Now the battlefield will be about even with how many cards we both have. We can actually just attach the Brute Bonnet E-Switch as well. Also pretty funny. Then we have another attacker ready. Oh, but then at that point we shoveled back the energy. So could still do it though. If we find an energy next turn. In theory it could work, so that's in our turn. I think they could discard the E-Switch. There's a 25% of it happening. If they discard anything else, doesn't matter. If they discard E-Switch, it could be a little annoying. But at that point, I don't want to switch an energy that I might want to use next turn. If I find Pecharunt EX, I'm probably gonna go into this Pecharunt. Oh, but no, they put the mist energy here, of course. So I actually maybe prefer to just swing with Brute Bonnet then. Yeah. If I find Janine, Secret Art, that would also work. They're gonna play Grabber, put the Pecharunt onto the bottom of my deck. I mean, now they have a 33% chance of hitting it, so a little scarier than I thought. There's another Gravity Gemstone. They probably play 4 of those. They play 4 of those. There goes the Night Stretcher. That's fine. That's fine. Let's draw for turn. See what we get. We get a Janine Secret Art, so we can actually attack this turn, which is pretty sick. So let's do this. Get 2 energy. 1 here, 1 there. That's E-Switch. Do I wanna? No, I don't. That's Rampaging Hammer. Gonna attach Binding Mochi here because of Pecharunt EX. If we get poisoned ourselves, we can actually deal enough damage to knock out. If we get poisoned ourselves, we are actually doing enough to knock out the Chingling ourselves. So we don't need the poison from the poison chain attack because they do play mist energy. So yeah, I mean that's like why it's pretty. I think it's the better play to just attach it. Yeah. And Okidogi will be knocking out anyway. This guy can't attack the next turn, which is pretty darn annoying. It has 5 retreat calls, by the way. 5, bro. 5. He's really, really thick. Alright, he's gonna play Pelpat. Team Rocket's Transceiver. I think it's gonna get Patrol then. Patrol. Yeah, another Patrol. I don't know what he's gonna get with Patrol this time though. Unfair Stamp. Alright, makes sense. Draw some extra cards, disrupt my hand in the process. Fair enough. Iron Bundle and Iono. I just really, like I said, I think we're still going to, or headed to the same place where they just run out of resource and we just win. Because this guy can't attack the next turn, but that's fine, I think. Squawk, yeah. Let's pass. I still believe that we're just gonna run out of resources. There's another Team Rocket's Patrol. He's gonna get a Super Rod, shuffle back some Chingling. Or actually just 1. I don't know why he just doesn't get like a Night Stretcher then. He discards Iron Bundle, that's fine. We're gonna get poisoned again, that's also fine. Yo, E-Switch onto Munkidori. to move off damage, and then we just win. Bruh, we just win with this. That's actually insane. Alright, that's Adrenabrain off. Yeah, and he just concedes. Alright, like I said, control decks like that just run out of steam, or just don't do enough. But yeah, that was game 1 of the Okidogi deck. So far so good. It felt pretty good. I mean, we did play against some sort of control deck, so who knows how fast or good the deck would be if we didn't get disrupted. But yeah, so far so good. Let's go into our second match. Alright, so we will be going first. We have a Precious Trolley and Brute Bonnet in hand. If we top deck Ancient Booster Capsule, then we just, and they put a small Pokemon in the active, we can actually just donk them, which would be pretty sick. Ooh, a Charmander. Oh wait, we still, oh, we need the stadium, but we can find Squawkabilly though. There's Squawk, there's this guy. We need to find one stadium card, and we're just done. Touch an energy there. Squawk and Seize. Wow, we just find it. Okay. So yeah, that's another thing with this deck. You can actually just win turn 1. Alright. Well, that's game 2. Let's go into game 3. And we will be going second. We have Precious Trolley in opening hand again, as well as a Nest Ball, which is pretty useless at that point. And it looks like we are playing some kind of Pecharunt EX deck as well. He's gonna play Nest Ball. Would be pretty funny if this is also Okidogi. Because I haven't played against Okidogi in a hot while. Okay, so they're just gonna get Pecharunt. That means we aren't able to get donked, I believe. Unless they play Iron Valiant and switch it in the active twice, and then a Volcanion EX. That's like basically impossible, so I don't think we're gonna get donked. Sada's Vitality, Roaring Moon. That's another way you could play Dark, of course. Roaring Moon. Yeah, the thing with Sada's Vitality is just better than Janine, unfortunately, because Sada just attaches energy and draws you cards. Janine just attaches energy from deck, which is kind of unfortunate, because otherwise this deck would have actually been, I think, like, it really could have been meta, like, without a doubt. Especially when Dark Patch was in format, then at that point 100,000%. But even now, if it just drew some cards, I don't know, it would have been a whole lot better. Let's Precious Trolley, let's get a Pecharunt, let's get a Squawk, Okidogi, Pecharunt EX. Maybe Munkidori. I don't actually want to discard 2 E-switches though. Or do I? Well, if we get the energy attached to Okidogi this turn, I think it's gonna be fine. Alright, let's attach an energy to Okidogi. Let's Squawk and Seize. We should have actually attached it to Munkidori, then E-switch it off and move 3 to Pecharunt. This was a big misplay. Or a pretty big misplay. Let's keep it at that. An Iono. Yeah, I guess. I'm gonna play it. Oh, that was such an unfortunate misplay. That would have been a cool play as well. Okay. Jungle. Janine. Well, I guess the best we can do is move into Pecharunt and just take a knockout like this. It's not even a knockout, it's a knockout going into our next turn. Unfortunately, this is the best I got. So, if I just saw the play before I played Squawk, I don't know. I have that so many times. If I just don't play the card for 1 second or use the ability for 1 second, I just look at the board. You know, most of the time I just see it within like 10 seconds, and if I play the card within 5 seconds, I just miss the play barely, which is kind of annoying. That's what I mean with like, I think if I play off camera, I'm a little more locked in, so to speak. So because I can like completely focus on the match just a little better, you know, than if I play it, for example, on camera. Then you're still like, you're thinking about other stuff as well, you know, in the process. So I think that for sure matters a little bit. Not saying it, that's why I make some misplays, because of course sometimes you just don't see the play, or you do make a misplay, or you see the play too late. I'm not gonna deny that. So he's gonna play Carmine. Carmine is just, I mean, you would think it would see a little more play. Maybe if it were discard draw 6, because then it would basically be a research. Maybe Carmine actually sees play after research rotates. That would actually be pretty funny. Pokemon Catcher. Ooh, Tails. Pokemon Catcher for what? Probably Brute Bonnet? Or if they could pull off the attack. No, they can't. There's like no world where they can. I think it's gonna be just a double KO here. I'm pretty sure. Subjugating Chains, going into Brute Bonnet. Okay, so he's just not going to. He's gonna avoid it, okay. And he's just gonna pass. Alright, so he will be passing here. Thing is, we can take a knockout with Okidogi. I'm not so sure if that's so good here, though. It's an energy to Munkidori. I think I'm gonna Janine, but I'm gonna keep the Pecharunt in the active for now. Here I guess. Then I can take a knockout on his Pecharunt and keep my Okidogi out of the active, so Roy Moon just doesn't come in and takes a knockout. Maybe we find an energy, we find a Binding Mochi, which I guess is fine. I'm just gonna pass here. I think this is fine. I mean, they could find a baby Pecharunt again, but then they would have to stick in the active, and at that point I might take a K with Okidogi, just without poisoning it. Poisoning it. Wow. Well, you know what I mean. Poisoning it. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, there's the E-Switch. And Iono. Okay, so the only really good thing we had in hand was the boss's aura. So for the rest, it was kind of just mid. We have an energy now. We have the jungle, which isn't play and is not going to do anything against our opponent's darkness Pokemon, unfortunately. With Munkidori, I'd say we are looking pretty darn good. Only unfortunate thing is that we don't have boss now. He gets Mew EX. I'm not sure if he's just gonna pre-bench it or he's looking to thin his hand. There is the baby Pecharunt, so he will be taking out our Pecharunt, probably. Which is a little unfortunately, just a little unfortunate, His Pecharunt will also be taking 6 damage counters though, so we can still take a knockout on it through Brute Bonnet. Then he's gonna be forced to move up a 2-press Pokemon or his Brute Bonnet. I think I'm just gonna promote Pecharunt. Super odd. I think I'm just gonna Adrenabrain. Do this. Take a knockout. See what he promotes. Promotes a Brute. Is Brute Bonnet? Okay. I kind of don't want to attack with Okidogi here, though. It does not feel that good. But what else would I do? Could also go into Brute Bonnet and just leave it in the active. The thing is, they could have boss. They could have boss, but if they want to knock out Okidogi in this way, they will need to Frenzy Gouging. So putting 200 damage on themselves. Their Pokemon catcher, they flip tails, and then at that point we can Munkidori and maybe find the baby Pecharunt, hopefully, and just promote that and take a knockout through that, because they probably are going to Subjugating Chains. So with Munkidori's Adrenaline Brain, we can move damage onto it, so Pecharunt will be actually able to KO, and with the poison in between turns, we only need to move 1 damage counter, I'm pretty sure. So there's a Status Vitality. The basic Koraidon is also pretty good. He is weak to fighting, which is pretty interesting because most dark type Pokemon are in today's world weak to grass, which I still find weird, but sure. There's Ringmoon. Oh, he can be poisoned, never mind. But the math still would have worked though, even if he weren't. Wow, I really can't talk in the morning, huh? Even when he isn't poisoned, the math still works if we just move 3. If they're just gonna take a knockout on Brute Bonnet, I mean, they have the Koraidon ready to attack. I guess that's why they're doing this. Otherwise, I wouldn't initiate the first attack like this. That's pretty risky. I mean, the only thing we need to do is find a boss's orders. So shuffling the deck, we're definitely gonna play Super Odd to shuffle something back. Let's set an energy to Pecharunt. Let's Super Odd back this guy. I think benching Muir is fine. We actually don't take a knockout. Yeah. That is bad. That's like really bad. And we don't have Binding Mochi, we just don't have any supporters in hand. Chain Crazed, I guess. If they go into Koraidon and take a knockout, yeah, we're just absolutely effed. They will need to discard 2 energy from their moon, or yeah, 2, yeah. So, or have a switch, or just 1 energy to go. Oh no, because they can't switch into Pecharunt. Okay. Yeah. There's the Ancient Capsule for Koraidon. The Ancient Capsule really putting in some work here. Also, Ringmoon can also not be poisoned. Mori's Conviction. I don't know, maybe this deck should play a higher supporter count, but then like cut 1 Janine, add an Iono and an Arven, or try to squeeze in another Pokégear. Because I don't know, I just feel like we missed the supporter a lot. Oh, they're gonna Frenzy Gouging. Huh? That's very interesting. Okay, now we only just need a boss orders to win the game. Okay, that's very risky of them. Let's promote Mew. Okay, they just also promote Koraidon. The stupid thing is, if we knock it out, I think that's also gonna be their only attacker. But we're going to hope that Fez here can find the boss's orders that we are looking for. There's nothing we can do to thin the deck, so let's just flip the script. Let's just see it. Boss's orders. No boss. Okay, no boss. We have an Arven, we have an Iono. We can disrupt their hand 2 cards as well. I think at that point they're just also going to be cooked. Anything I might want to do. If they knock this out, we just lose. So I don't think I have to attach an energy to anything. Maybe I'll just attach an energy so if I find another Munkidori or something. No, that doesn't make any sense. Let's just Iono. Put them to 2 cards. We can also just restart for 1. Find another booster capsule. Okay, let's just retreat. Let's just take a knockout and pray they don't have something to knock out my Pecharunt. If they do, they win the game. If they don't, which with a 2-card hand, 0 energy in play, and no Fez on board, it's pretty unlikely, you'd think, because they would need Sawdust Vitality and E-Switch, as well as an extra ancient Pokemon. So they would need 3 exact cards. And why is the game glitching out? Okay, this is really weird. It looks like our opponent did concede, but the game just really lagged. Well, unfortunately, the game lagged, so, yeah, we're here now. Final thoughts on the Okidogi deck. I really think there is something here. I did actually, when the cards were released, bought like the entire deck. Like all the cards I needed. The only thing I would really want to see here is probably an extra Pokégear. Probably cut 1 Janine, because Janine is important, but if you go second, you can just go second or go first and just go for Pecharunt. And I think with attach from hand, and yeah, Janine is important, but I don't know. Janine is pretty good, but I have a feeling Janine isn't as useful at a lot of times as you may think, since it is a card that you can basically only use if you have a pretty decent hand. If you have a very bad hand, using a Janine's Secret Art can really lead to a very bad board state, since you do attach energy, but then you don't draw any cards, and you just kind of brick from there. So maybe maybe add a Pokégear. The boss's order count 2 feels pretty good, I'd say. Counter Catcher also feels pretty good. I did have a little trouble finding the ancient capsules for Brute Bonnet, but at the same time, you don't really want to play more than 2, so I do understand the 2. The Binding Mochi is also one thing. Maybe trying at a Arven, or like I said, I think if you squeeze 1 extra Pokégear in there, I think the deck will be fine. But yeah, it did feel very cool, or it felt pretty good, and it is a pretty cool deck. So if you want to check it out, really go do so. And with that, if you want to be in my next episode, if you name it and I played, let me know down below what card or deck you might want to see, and maybe I'll check it out in my next episode. And if you want to join my Discord, make sure to check the link down below to join my channel Discord. And if you didn't subscribe yet, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.
And if you want to see one of the most insane spread decks ever, check out this video right here.